back to Mad Hatchet Horror Hour. I'm Madison, and this is
Jessica.
This week we're going over Coraline. The synopsis. Sorry. It's about an adventurous 11-year-old girl who finds another world that is a strangely idolized version of her frustrating home, but it has sinister secrets. It's directed by Henry Selick. Selick. And he also wrote it along with Neil Gaiman.
Yeah, Neil Gaiman wrote the book.
Yeah. It stars Dakota Fanning as Coraline and Terry Hatcher as, like, the other mother. Yeah. And then the cat is Keith David. I don't know if he's, like, important, but I thought he was. Okay. So what'd you think?
I loved it. I love this movie. I love the weird, creepy factor of it. It has, it's the perfect mix between horror and wonder.
It is. It's like, you know the game, what's it called? It's the Alice in Wonderland game, but it's like a horror game. It's like Alice in Wonderland. I forget what it's called, but it's interesting. It's like horror and wonder mixed together.
I think that makes it perfect, though, because it's for adults and children.
Yes.
And okay. I love the songs in it.
The songs?
Yes.
I was gonna say.
They're so catchy.
They are.
They're super catchy, and they have that, like, happy but scary factor to it.
The tingly feeling?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like something bad's going to happen.
Yeah, it's like, that's pretty weird, but
yeah.
Wait. And then, like, the sudden, like, trumpet blares and trombone flares whenever, like, something hits the ground or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's... Whenever I was in band class, always loved it whenever those parts of the songs would come on because it scared everybody while we were playing, and that just made it sound better somehow.
I also love that they did it in French. So there's, like, all the songs are by the same conductor.
Mm-hmm.
And so when he does it, he makes it like you want to know the words to it, but you literally don't know the words to it because it's French.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're singing, you don't actually know what they're singing about.
It's in French?
Uh-huh.
They were singing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
At the very beginning of the...
I guess they were singing.
It's all French. Yep.
Really?
Yep.
That is... I didn't know that.
Because I wanted to learn the words to it. And so I pulled it up and I'm like, oh, it's in French. No wonder I don't know what the heck they're saying.
No wonder I don't know what they're saying. Now that I'm older and watching the movie, I can, like, point out the tiniest details in it. Like, Coraline's jeans that she was wearing, and, like, the first time you saw her, they didn't fit her. You could see her, like, her panties. There was, like, whenever she bent over to look at the door, you could see that. And, just the tiniest details. Like, on the button. I didn't realize the button was, like, a button. The key was a button.
Yeah.
I didn't notice that until...
One of my favorite little details in the movie is when they're talking about making a deal, and she's touching her head like this.
Uh-huh.
And then Coraline turns around to look at her, and it's water dripping from the faucet, and she's disappeared. Yeah. I thought that was so cool because they just...
Like, it blended so well together.
Yes.
I love that every time she wants to play a game, she taps on the table, taps her fingers like, what'd you have in mind?
Right.
That was my favorite little detail of her. And in the end, she looked like porcelain. Like a porcelain doll, cracked porcelain doll.
Yeah.
That was so neat. I love that little detail, too. Whenever I was little, I always thought it looked like spider webs on her face.
Well, she's technically like a spider robot.
I wrote that down. I was like, is this lady a spider demon?
I think that's one of the best parts, though. You don't actually know what she is, but all you know is she just wants to eat their soul.
Right. And in the end, whenever she's beating on the door, she's like, no, don't leave. I'll die if you leave. And I was like, oh. So she needs Coraline to live. Which, like, then how did she... If the grandma didn't let little kids live there for so long, then why did is she still alive?
Yep.
She must have been, like, what do you say for the word? What's the word? She must have been spreading her meals out very evenly.
Yes.
Like, I know Coraline's gonna be here someday.
Right. Well, I always thought that maybe the grandma, because, you know, she had to have a daughter or a son to have her grandson, Wybie.
Yeah.
And so she must have went to all kinds of lengths to keep her kids out of there.
Yes.
So, but yeah, I thought that was pretty cool.
Her little sister, I didn't realize till like the third time I watched it whenever I was a little kid that the girl in the mirror was her little sister. I never picked that up. I was a little slow whenever I was little. Especially whenever it came to movies.
Well, speaking of little, I have a key point about that. Like, the storyline of the movie is when you're a child and you're not getting that attention that you want.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the whole basis of the story was trying to explain to kids that just because people buy you things doesn't mean they actually care about you.
Exactly.
And so when you grow up, you have that trust and people are there for you, and that's how you know they love you. Yeah. But in this movie, her parents aren't there for her. They're so busy all the time, but they love her, you know. And then another key point is they have when they are moving, they tip the moving guy $1.
Yeah.
So it portrays that they're kind of poor.
Right.
And so I think that she wants all this stuff and can't get it because her parents are kind of poor, or they just can't make it happen at this time.
Their job kind of seems like Dad's job, where they only get paid after they finish a certain job, because they were like, maybe after this job we can go and get you something.
Yes.
And Coraline did not like that idea.
Right.
She was like, no, I want it now.
Yeah. You hate me because you don't buy me things.
Yeah.
But she doesn't realize that as a child, you know, when you get older, you're going to need that trust and that love, and not just artificial things.
Right, like gloves.
Right.
Even though her mom got them for her anyways.
Right.
No, I thought that was sweet in the end.
Yep.
If I saw a little mouse running, like, across the floor in the middle of the night, why would I follow it? I'd be like, ew, we have mice? I wouldn't follow it. No, she was, like, after it, though. She wanted to know where it was going.
Yeah. With Bobinski being upstairs and training the mouse circus, I think she already knew that it had come from him. Yeah. And so maybe she wasn't scared of it because of that. Mm-hmm. But then one of the parts that has always bothered me is they eat the cheese in their meal that was on the floor and in the mouse's mouth. And I'm just like, that's gross. So the first time I ever saw a mouse, I was at my mom's, and I was like walking in the kitchen. It was the middle of the night. I was thirsty, so I went to go get some milk. And I walked in the kitchen, I turned on the light, and I saw it scurry behind the crock pot. And I was like, and I screamed and I started crying. I was only like 9, but still, it scared me half to death. Yeah, I don't do mice.
Neither do I.
No.
I don't like small scurrying things that move fast.
If you could actually go see a mouse circus,
that would be so cool.
Who wouldn't go see that? That'd be so neat.
Yeah, that would be awesome. You just see them jumping around, spelling your name out like, oh!
Right?
I didn't even know they can.
I love the fact that she's like, he's drunk, Coraline. He's drunk. He's not funny. He's drunk.
He's not funny. He's drunk. That sounds like something that a parent would say to their kid. Like, he's not funny. He's drunk. And she's like, he's not drunk. He's, what did she say? Like, creative or something like that?
I can't exactly remember what she says.
He's not drunk. He's something. I don't know. I was wondering, does mud really help with, like, poison oak?
I don't think so. I've never Googled it or anything, but I've never had poison oak. But
neither have I.
Poison ivy or anything like that, I wouldn't think so.
Yeah, I feel like it would just make it worse, right?
Well, I guess it depends on what kind of magic mud you're using.
Maybe if it was Coraline mud, but this is, like, real world mud, right?
Right. Now, in the movie, when she's with her real family, it is so dull and so boring. Like, they did such a good job making it like,
that was my first note.
This place is so gray. Sucks, you know, there's nothing to do, there's nobody to hang out with. the neighbors are boring. And then when you go into the other mother's world, the colors pop. And it is like straight up, there's always something to do. There's always something going on. Everybody's like her best friend. Everybody gives her all the attention that she needs and wants. Mm-hmm. And I just loved how they did that with the claymation. And, like, yeah, it was really cool.
It made you think, like, yeah, I would want to be there all the time, too. And then she's like, so button in your eyes. And she was like, no. Yep. I would have been like that, too, though. I wouldn't have even walked in there in the first place. If I saw the buttons for eyes, I would have been like, are you okay?
Right.
Like, what's wrong? Or I would have just ran away because...
It's always like the grass is greener on the other side kind of thing. Like, even though she had buttons, she had all this other stuff to offer her. So she was so good at manipulating her into thinking that that was like a normalcy thing in that world that it didn't really affect her until she's like, hey, I need you to do that too.
Yeah. No.
Right.
Oh, whenever all that fog was there, the fog was like coming from the house. It was coming out from under the house. I thought that was really weird. Like, I wondered if that had something to do with the other world. Like, if something was going on there that was making the fog come out here, or if it was just foggy.
Yeah, I honestly don't know. But in that scene when Wybie's doing the slug thing, like, she could have had so much fun with that. But she was so into needing that attention for herself that she just kind of basically blew him off. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was kind of sad because, like, in the storyline, she basically makes him feel like,
why were you born?
Exactly. Yeah. And then in the other world, in the other mother's world, she takes his voice away, which is so sad because he all he can do is basically be her little friend puppet. And so I think Coraline realizes in the movie that, hey, Wybie is actually a pretty cool guy, but I'm not giving him the chance that I should. Mm-hmm. And then he calls her a freak, and she's like, you know, what the heck? You know,
yeah, like, let me throw your shoes at you. Let me throw my shoes at you real quick. Listen to me.
Right.
But, like, he wasn't listening to her.
No, he was right, though. She was, like, acting crazy. And...
I would have thought she was crazy, too.
Oh,
That's
definitely.
Because you're crazy!
I love that part.
So do I. He's like leaning out the doorway, trying to run away. That's because you're crazy. Runs.
I think my grandma's calling me Jonesy.
My grandma's calling me Jonesy. Why aren't you listening? That's because you're crazy.
Crazy? I'll show you crazy.
I can't. Oh, jeez. I was wondering, like, I didn't know if it was a real thing, but, like, how the Coraline garden is in the movie. I was wondering if somebody somewhere out in the world had made that, like, tried to remake it. Like, with the red trees for the cheeks and the
honestly,
flowers
I don't know, but how creepy would that be?
That would be so weird.
Like, hey, my dad made a garden. It looks just like me. That is so creepy. Like, who does that? Like, walking up on it and be like, all right, this looks just like me.
Dad, you got something to say?
And another thing was, the father was so nice.
He was.
In the movie. In the book, he's not like that.
Really?
Yeah.
I've never read the book.
The book is definitely worth a read. It's a little, it's not just a little, but it's a lot darker.
Is it?
Yes.
Did it come before the movie?
Yes. Now, he did the book based off of stories that his daughter told him.
Really?
Yes. And so she was, I think, 9, and she wanted him to read to her about, like, these women that were, like, manipulating their kids. Mm-hmm. And he never found a story like that, so he wrote one for her. And that's how Coraline was made.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's... In the end, like, back to the garden thingy, like, in the end, the garden was actually shaped like her. Whenever they're zooming out of her real home, it was actually shaped like her face.
Yeah.
And I thought that was weird, like, how funny. I would have been weirded out if I saw that.
Right.
In both worlds. Like, if I saw that in the other world, I would have been like, okay, it's this world. They're trying to, like, get me on their side. And then I'd go back home and look at the garden and be like, hey, this looks exactly like that other one, but without any plants in it. It looks just like me.
Right.
Why?
Yeah, I don't know. That is a weird factor in that movie. The dragon snappers.
The dragon snappers.
That eat sausage. I thought that was weird too.
Yeah, the ticklers. Yeah. That eat sausage. She didn't have any food on her plate whenever she was feeding them. I didn't know if that's just because she didn't eat because of what she was, but she never ate any food. Like, there was no food on her plate.
I didn't even notice.
Yeah,
I just know that she fed him sausage, but I didn't know where she got it. But all I can
there
remember
was a
thinking,
plate of sausage next, like, here, but her plate that was in front of her was completely empty.
Huh.
I'm gonna guess, but that's because she eats children.
The ghost children.
The ghost children.
That is. Could you imagine being locked in a room with ghost children? Like, seriously, like, thinking that you're going to be next?
She was talking to them like it was an everyday thing.
I know.
Too.
In the book, she's so terrified. Like, she's so scared about everything. And then in the movie, it's like she's more brave as it goes on. Like, she always has some kind of, like...
But in the book, she's scared all the way through.
Yeah, like, she's getting ready to start a new school with new friends, and she's terrified about it.
Yeah.
In the movie, they don't mention school at all, except for when she goes to get new school clothes.
Right.
So, I don't know. And did you notice in the movie there's a Shakespeare, like, I don't know, I want to call
like
it...
the skull?
No, it's like a fair, like a Shakespeare, like, fair is going on. Like, you know,
Oh, yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
Because it says, like, Shakespeare Festival. That's what I'm saying. Festival.
Oh, festival, yeah.
And because the guys that are outside of the garden center are singing, and they're dressed up. And then,
Really?
yeah, I just noticed it when I was watching it the other day. And then when the kids come down the stairs, he says, "My kingdom for a horse." And he's talking about, like, they're playing, like, they're, you know, in Shakespeare time. Like,
Really?
yeah, I just noticed it the other day. I was like, that's pretty cool.
I didn't notice that at all.
Like, little things like that, I just like so much detail they put in this movie.
That's why I like
made this
rewatching
movie.
movies. Dad's
Yes.
always like, "Why do you rewatch movies?" I'm like, "Because I don't catch everything the first time, and I want to catch everything."
I bet you I've watched Coraline 500 times.
Whenever I was a kid, that was like my favorite movie. One of my favorite movies. I watched that movie all the time. Mom had it on demand. She like downloaded it so we could watch it all the time, over and over, until it expired and we had to wait for it to come on TV again.
Right. I love how they made it like adult and kid. But I
Yeah.
wouldn't recommend this for anybody under the age of 8.
Yeah,
I think it
no.
would scare the hell out of them.
I think Mom made me watch it whenever I was like 6, but it was never like
You're a
really
different breed.
scary to me.
Yeah, you're a different breed.
Yeah.
Like, Kyle's a different breed too. He always watched scary movies with me, and this was definitely one that he didn't find scary.
I always liked like the paranormal movies. I was never into like gore whenever I was a kid though. I hated gore, especially like the stringy stuff. Ugh. Still, I can watch it. I just don't like it now. Like the stringy stuff, I don't like the stringy stuff. The stringy stuff makes me want to hurl.
Yeah, I get that. I loved how this was scary, but not too scary.
Right. It's like a creepy kind of
Yes.
scary. Kind of like The Conjuring. It's not scary, but it's like the creepy kind of scary.
Yes. Now, like the other movies that they did, like Paranorman and things like that.
I loved that movie too. Norman.
Yeah, I just love the ideas that they come up with that are creepy, but they still draw you in as like your children. I just think that's cool.
Why is it that those kids let her sew buttons in her eyes? In what universe would a child think that's okay?
Like I said, manipulation is a big thing. Like, when you don't have things that you really want, like, say I just gave you $500 and took you shopping, and I bought you your favorite kind of boots, or we'd go makeup shopping, and I would get our nails done, and then I'd be like, hey, since I do all this stuff for you, how about you do this for me? And then we can just keep doing this, or you're probably just going to have to go back home and I'm going to have to find somebody else to do this with. It depends
on what it is. Because if you're going to try and hurt me, then no.
But what I'm saying is younger kids, I could see younger kids doing that. Just because they still want the pros of all the stuff.
Right.
But they don't really realize that people are manipulating them. I love that about this movie, though, because it teaches you that people will manipulate you throughout your whole life just to get what they want out of you.
Yeah, they will. I know.
So
my mom's a lot like that. I know, but Garrett, my little brother, like any of my little brothers, really, if you were to like buy them all this stuff and you were to ask them to like sew buttons in your eyes, they'd be like, "What?" Well, they would think you'd be joking until you show them the needle and be like, "Come here." They'd be like, they'd jump back. They'd be scared.
Oh, definitely. But I could see kids doing it that are like super like super neglected, little, yeah. Like not getting the love that they need, and maybe not buttons or whatever, but it's like saying that it would never hurt. Like, oh, it's not gonna hurt at all.
Yeah, that's because that's what her other dad said. He was like, "It's so sharp, you won't even feel a thing." And he like touched it, and then she like kicked him under the table, and he was like, "Ow!"
Yeah.
But, yeah. No. Her husband is a pumpkin.
Yeah, squish squash, pumpkin sauce.
Pumpkin, I think the garden needs tended to. Oh, jeez. The three wonders. The three wonders were the garden, the Bobinskis, and the downstairs, the theater place. Mm-hmm. The theater ladies. I can't remember their names ever.
Spinks and Forcible.
Yes.
The dried up old actresses.
Yes, who she thought were really pretty on the inside for some reason.
I think that's what they looked like
whenever they were younger.
When they were younger. Mm-hmm. Yep. And then all that.
What happened?
That shit happens when you get old.
Oh, jeez. I'm scared.
You should be. It's terrifying.
Oh, jeez. She dies without feeding. I already said that, didn't I? Mm-hmm. What do you have down?
I already read everything that I have down.
Really?
Yeah. Let's talk about the neighbors a little bit, though. Could you imagine going to these actresses' house and then having all those dogs that were stuffed?
No.
And then she's making wigs for them as they're running around the house, and I'm just like, Jacques the Third.
At the end, she was like, "It looks like so and so's all better," and she's like, "He can't be better forever."
Yeah.
I don't think she could get that costume off of him. Oh. No.
Hamish, that was really funny.
That was.
But yeah, that would be so creepy going to somebody's house and being like, you know, seeing all their stuffed dogs.
Right. If I walked into some, like, were they sisters? Both of them?
I don't know if they were actually sisters or they just worked together, like, as actresses, and then they, like, depended on each other.
I don't know.
And coming back to that, the one thing that I thought was terribly inappropriate was
her outfit.
Yes. I mean, it was really funny.
Like, it was funny, yeah.
But I'm just like, oh my gosh.
But it's PG. The movie is
naked.
Yeah, she is practically naked.
So,
like, as a kid, I was watching that and I was like, what is this woman's problem? Is she okay?
And if you actually listen to the song, they're like bashing on each other.
They are, yeah.
Like bashing on each other like hardcore, like
her dried up old weed. At least I don't look like this.
She's like, beware of like with something about too big of bosoms or something. I'm just like, whoa.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, no. That'd be me and my sister bashing on each other, like secretly. We'd cover it up with a good song and be like, at least my dad doesn't have a receding hairline that you'll probably get. That's what she'd say, and I'd be like, at least I have a dad.
Right.
Oh, we've had that argument before. It was a funny argument. We were just joking with each other, though. Oh, jeez. Our friend Carolina and Bella, I'm pretty sure they were over, or maybe it was Raya and somebody else. I don't know. There were people over while we were arguing, too, and they were just having a ball. They were laughing and everything. And me and Ada, we're good at entertaining people most of the time. So they were on the floor rolling, and me and Ada were like, I'm gonna kill you later. Yeah.
What you're saying might be true, but you're dead.
You're dead. Oh. Is our other mother some kind of spider demon? I said that. The sisters argue like me and Ethan do. Me and Ada argue like that for jokes and like giggles and stuff, but me and Ethan, my little brother, we argue like that for real. And like, at least I don't sit on the couch like a potato all day. At least I have a life. Oh, that was uncalled for, Ethan.
How old is he?
He's turning 14 this year. Yeah, or maybe no, it's not April yet. Yeah, he's turning 14 this year, so he's only like a year and a few months behind me.
Nice.
Yeah. What if the spider hand crawled up from the well?
I think that would be great for a Coraline too.
I know that like it was smashed and everything, but what if it put itself back together and crawled up the well? It is a demon, I guess.
Right?
Or what if there's secretly another key that nobody knows about?
Very true. I don't know. Like, I think that'd be really cool if, like, they came up with some kind of way that like it rained for like 3 days or something, and the well got like backed up or something.
Yeah.
And it pushed all of it up to the top.
Mm-hmm.
And like, you know, it got put back together somehow. It'd be really cool just to have another Coraline too, but I wouldn't know what they'd base the thing off without it being exactly the same storyline.
Maybe. Maybe the dad comes up instead of the mom. I know the dad was like one of her puppets, but like that would be cool. I don't know. I like the first one though.
It was really good.
I always thought they were supposed to make a second one because if you Google Coraline, it's like Coraline 2, and I'm like, what? And I always click on it, and then Coraline pops up, not Coraline 2.
Right. They did that with Hocus Pocus forever. They were like, oh,
Yeah,
Hocus Pocus 2,
I know.
Hocus Pocus 2, and they finally did it. But
I know. I was so excited. I was like, wait, is this for real? And I didn't even get my hopes up, and then I found out it was for real, and I was like, oh, yes.
right. I think Coraline is so underrated.
It is, though.
Like, Nightmare Before Christmas has this huge following.
Fandom. I don't like the movie. I fall asleep.
Oh, really?
In the
See, I
beginning
do like
every
Nightmare
time.
Before Christmas, but I like Coraline better. I've
So do
always
I.
have.
Oh, yeah.
And I just wish they had more stuff. Like, I like their merch.
I always liked Hocus Pocus. It didn't really get that popular until the second one came out. And everyone was, like, excited about it because that's what I watched whenever I was a kid. I don't know about other people, but that's the Halloween I always watched. Like, hey, it's Halloween time. Can we watch Hocus Pocus? Dad would say no, but Ada would be like, yeah, let's do it. Ada was always obsessed with Sarah. Mary was always my favorite, though.
Oh, she's hilarious.
She is. She's like, Winnie. Oh. I don't know. Any other topics?
I've got nothing.
I know there's more on here, but if I read through it all, it's gonna take forever. The way like in the end, whenever the world is like unwinding.
Oh, that was creepy.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of like, what do they call it? A spool of
Yarn?
Yeah, like untwisting like really fast. It was really cool. Or no, that was the web. The world was like falling apart like a puzzle would.
Yeah.
And like even one of the pieces kind of looked like a puzzle piece. I was looking at it, I was like, that kind of looks like a puzzle
I like
piece.
when they walk in the house. This is another one of those touches that they had, and
Yeah.
like the wallpaper
Walls
was
are
moving,
peeling,
and
yeah.
oh yeah, that was so cool.
Yeah, and like as she was running up the steps, the wood's just flying up into the abyss. Like, oh, bye.
You know, she was eating chocolate beetles from Zanzibar. Do you think that maybe she eats other things and children are just her favorite?
I don't know, maybe. Because if she can live off of like beetles and stuff, then I'm sure she could. Yeah, and that's probably how she was waiting around for the next kid to come along and
Yeah.
everything. Oh. Yeah, I could totally see that. Oh, the beginning, whenever she's making the doll.
Oh,
That looks so realistic.
I
It was
know.
insane. I used to think.
Now, did you
whenever
ever
I was
watch it in 3D?
3D? Mm-mm.
When it first came out, that was a huge thing. 3D was huge. And
I used to watch movies in the theater in 3D,
when
yeah.
when she moves that needle, it comes out of like it's coming out of the TV and at you.
Oh.
And I thought that was so cool.
I would have been terrified and be like, oh no, not my eyes. No. How do they see? Like the ghost children, if there's buttons over their eyes.
Not a clue.
They're-
But like, I don't understand why she has buttons on her eyes, because I thought that she sewed the buttons so they couldn't really run away.
Right.
So, I don't know. Maybe as an example, setting an example that,
Yeah,
hey,
like, hey,
everybody
I
here
got
does
them.
this.
Yeah, I got them. You should have them. But it seemed like those were her real eyes, because whenever the cat, like, clawed them out, she couldn't see.
Right.
And she didn't have any eyes under that or any, like, signs of eye sockets or anything, so I think those were her actual eyes. Maybe it was a part of her demon self. I don't know if she's a real demon, but, like...
I don't know. When she turns into that robot
Spider
thingy?
thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, no. You better start running.
Now, when we went to Horror Hound,
Mm-hmm.
I got to actually take a picture with somebody who did cosplay of the other mother.
Really?
That was so awesome. Yeah.
She looked awesome?
Oh, she looked so awesome. She had the actual spider arms and everything, and she put herself on stilts and had the
Wow.
spikes coming out of her back. It was really neat.
I loved how her spine sticked out from her dress like that.
Yeah.
That was such a nice touch to her, like, character.
Mm-hmm.
That was, like, I saw it and I was like, that's, like, another little detail that I'd never noticed before. Her spine, her spider spine.
Yep.
I'm surprised she didn't have a spider butt.
Now, Josh got me a snow globe
Yeah.
last year. The Detroit snow globe.
Really?
Yeah, from Coraline.
Did it have the parents in it, too?
Yep.
Oh, that's awesome.
It is so cool. I love it. I have it in my room. But like I said, I've always been a huge fan. Like, this is by far my favorite movie of all time ever. And I think it will be for a long, long time. Just for the simple fact that I love the storyline of it and the creepy factor of it. It's just wonder, like, bright and colorful, and then dark and gloom and
Yes.
creepy.
Coraline, if my other friends were to like a movie like this, which I don't know if they would, I'm sure if they actually sat down and watched it, but usually if I bring it up, I'm like, hey, have you guys seen Coraline? They're like, no. I'm like, and then I explain it to them, and they're all like, oh. And I'm like, oh.
Another fun fact is, did you know her name was actually going to be Caroline in the book?
Really?
Yes, but he kept doing a typo. And he was like, well, I guess her name is meant to be Coraline because I keep writing it. He said, well, he's like, I'm just
I
gonna
noticed
keep
that the A and the O were just switched.
Yep. So I thought that was really cool. Fun
It's
fact.
Coraline. Oh, my jaw cracked. It's Coraline, not Caroline. I would hate having the name Coraline and have everybody mistake me for Caroline. I'm not Caroline. That's not my name.
Right.
I'm not a Care Bear. Hey, Care Bear. I have a friend. Her name's Caroline, and we call her Care Bear.
I used to call Karen Care Bear. She hated it.
Yeah, Carolina hates it too. I called her Caroline, didn't I? Her name's Carolina.
Carolina.
Yeah.
Her parents hated her.
Oh. She always... I shouldn't say that. She says, I knew I was meant to be swallowed. It's so bad.
She was meant to be what?
Swallowed.
Oh, no.
Her sister Bella, she says the same thing. It's like, it's okay. You're here now. I'm here. I make your life better. It's
That's
okay. Oh, jeez. Oh. But the world unwinding. Imagine walking out, like, to your yard and then it start disappearing as you're walking to, like, the neighbor's house. Like
the apocalypse is coming.
Yeah, it's like, whoa, everything's white. It's too bright. She was looking at it like it was nothing, but I would have been like, oh my god, my eyes. She was looking at it like it was so normal, though. She must have been one of those kids that always looked at the sun whenever they were little. They stare at the sun like, oh, pretty light. No, not pretty light. Oh, jeez. Well, What would you rate it?
Oh, 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10?
Yep. Oh, 100%.
I'd go 10 out of 10 too, yeah. You want to hear for some trivia?
Yeah.
Yeah? I got a bunch of trivia. Just gotta let me click on it first. Yep, there we go. Okay. See it?
I'm ready.
Okay. The trivia. Dad calls it trivia, but it's not trivia. It's fun facts.
Fun facts. Okay.
Yeah, I know. I was excited too the first time I was on his podcast. I was like, trivia, let's go. And then they started like saying things, and I was like, where's the question?
Right?
And then they were like, okay, next. And I was like, did I miss something? And
You can't call it trivia if you're not going to ask a question.
right. And Dad was like, well, they just call it trivia. It's actually like little things about it. I was like, so it's fun facts. Why don't you just say fun facts?
Right.
Okay. I thought that was weird. Okay, so the character Wybie Lavat is not in Neil Gaiman's novel. Yeah.
I did know that.
He was created so Coraline could not have to talk to herself, and so she would have a friend of her own age. Over 130 sets were built across 52 stages at the studios, spanning 183,000 square feet. The 52 different stages were the most ever deployed for a stop-motion animated feature. So they put a lot of work into that. The movie.
The movie was actually started in the 90s.
Really?
Yes.
It didn't come out until
06,
2009.
9. Yeah. They started talking about doing the movies in the 90s, and they just couldn't get it there. Like,
Yeah.
they kept deciding, they couldn't decide if they wanted to do cartoon or a live action or whatever.
They
and then
did
they went
good
to
with what they got.
Yep.
Yeah. I always wondered how they made that, because it almost looked like CG, but I knew it was too realistic to be CG, like too textury. So I was like, it looks like clay, but it looks too good to be clay.
Yeah, they did do a good job.
The on-screen snow was made from superglue and baking soda. Snow? When did it snow? Did it snow? Oh, the snow that was on the parents. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that makes more sense. Like, how'd they
From
get
the
it?
snow globes, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. There were 24 different puppets of Coraline used in the making of the movie. Each one took 10 individuals and 3 to 4 months to construct. Yep, it was made in the 90s, or it began in the 90s. I can imagine them taking like 17 years to make it, or 19 years, almost 20 years to make that. I can definitely see how they would do that. Okay. Initially, the film was going to be live action, and Dakota Fanning was actually going to physically portray Coraline, when it was decided instead to make a stop-motion animated film. Fanning was asked if she would still be interested in providing I see where they get mixed up. Coraline's voice. Did I say Caroline earlier?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. She was still interested in providing Coraline's voice. She grew even more excited when she saw what Coraline was going to look like. I love her outfits.
Well, I just love that they made her different.
They did, like the blue hair.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if she dyed her hair that, because both of her parents have
I'm assuming
black
so.
and brown hair.
Like, I just feel like they portrayed her as a rebel child.
Yeah. Like with the give me these gloves. I want to be different. Like
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. But it makes me wonder if her hair is just like that, like to be
Like
an
natural?
aesthetic. Yeah,
I don't know.
because the lady downstairs, her hair was like faded pink, which means she was getting old, right? So, and her younger self had much more vibrant pink, and her old hair was still like faded.
Yeah.
Like whenever she unzipped it, she came out and it was so much brighter, which makes me think like her hair, you know how hair like starts turning white and gray and everything?
Mhm.
If her pink hair was doing that, like in its pinkish way.
Maybe.
So, I don't know. At 1 hour and 40 minutes long, this was the longest stop-motion film until Kubo and the Two Strings, also made by Leica. That was in 2016. That was a good movie.
Mm-hmm.
You saw that movie?
Mm-hmm.
It was, I forget what it's about, but I remember really liking it.
The Book of Life.
The Book of Life. I watched that whenever I was really little. I remember bits and pieces from it. That's a good one too. What else was there? Paranorman and was there another one?
James and the Giant Peach.
I hated that movie. I thought it was boring.
That was the first one they ever did. I thought it was kind of creepy too, but I like it.
And I just remember hating it. When I was a kid, I just didn't like. I found it boring.
Yeah, the storyline is a little boring.
The face on the dollar bill given to the mover for a tip is director Henry Selick.
That's hilarious. I never knew that.
I wondered who that was. I was like, that's not any of our presidents. Who is that? This director? Oh. Weird.
Makes me want to watch it all over again.
Yeah. The leaves in the scene where Coraline is returning to the well were created by spraying popcorn pink and cutting it up into little pieces.
That's cool.
That is cool. I want to try that. Make little leaves out of popcorn. The band They Might Be Giants wrote 10 songs for the movie, but a change in tone from a musical to a darker production meant that all but 2 were cut. One, when Coraline's other father sings along with the piano, features John Linnell's voice, and the other is during the end credit. The band has said they will release the other songs created for the movies and other projects, including albums. I didn't know. I don't even know who those people are. Making up a song. Oh, cool.
That was my ringtone forever.
Was it really?
Yeah. When the movie first came out, I loved that song, and I just had it as a ringtone.
Yeah, I had the lyrics pulled up last night whenever I watched the movie. In the end, it says something, and then it was like, me and Mom will never take our eyes off of Coraline. And I was like, yep, that sounds about right. Like, it gave that, okay, the attention thingy, but it also gave that creepiness of quit looking at me kind of deal. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. It can be taken both ways, I guess. Like, hey, they'll always pay attention to me, and hey, that's creepy. They won't look away.
right.
Like, they're always watching me. They're always stalking. I don't know. One crew member was hired specifically to knit miniature sweaters of other clothing for the puppet characters using knitted needles almost as thin as human hair.
Wow.
I can't even use regular needles.
Right?
I'll try to sew something back and I'll be like...
I could only imagine how messed up your hands would feel after doing that for so long for little.
Oh, yeah. It'd be so cramped and everything. Let's hope he didn't have arthritis or anything like that.
Right?
That would suck. Oh, jeez. Mr. Bombinski is wearing the Russian hero medal for service at the Chernobyl nuclear disaster on April 26, 1986, which reads on the front, participant in the cleanup campaign, the 4A3C indicates Chernobylskaya nuclear power plant. This medal is unique as it is the only medal in the world awarded for participation in a nuclear cleanup that might explain his skin complexion and odd behavior.
So he's basically poisoned.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Shouldn't he be dead then?
No. It could just be that he got like some kind of
mental disease.
Well, I mean, it's very possible that it could have like soaked up through his skin and, you know, turned it a different color and
yeah,
basically caused brain damage.
Huh. I didn't.
Eccentric. That's what she calls him. He's not drunk. He's eccentric.
Yeah. He's not drunk. He's eccentric. Okay, Coraline. Keep telling yourself that. The first stop motion animated feature to be shot entirely in 3D. I guess it was in 3D.
Yep.
Yeah. Neil Gaiman has said that out of all the film and television adaptation of his books, Coraline is his favorite. Near the end of the film, Coraline's father is seen reenacting the famous face hugger scene from Alien 1979 using Coraline's stuffed squid. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know what that's talking about. I've never seen the movie, though. I need to. I don't want to, though. I don't.
It's a good movie.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
That's Predator.
No, I don't think Alien's up here.
No. I always ask Dad what I should watch for her movie. He's always like, Alien or Predator. And I'm like, no, I don't like jungle movies. I've always found those boring, too. Besides George of the Jungle. Yeah. I always liked that movie when I was a kid, but we only ever had the second one on DVD. So Mom would always make us watch the second one, and I was like, no, he's not as good as the first one. He's like George in the City or something like that.
Yeah, no.
The model of the father was based on Ted Raimi. You know who that is?
Not a clue.
I've heard his name before. I don't know who it is, though. At one point in the movie, Coraline shows 16 different expressions in the span of 35 seconds. I wonder what part of the movie that is.
I wouldn't know.
Huh. 16 different expressions. Ugh. Coraline's facial combinations consist of 3D printed prototypes. New technology enabled a prototype to be molded by a computer, which was then hand-painted by the modeling department. Each jaw replacement was clipped between Coraline's eyes, resulting in a visible line, which was later digitally removed frame by frame. There was a total of 207,336 possible face combinations for the character. That's a lot.
That is a lot.
It's like a tenth of a million. A tenth of 100. No, a tenth of a million, yeah. I think. That's a tenth of...
You're thinking too hard about it.
Oh, jeez. The other mother is always humming one of the soundtrack songs while she cooks. Yeah, I noticed that yesterday. She was like... I'm not good at singing, so I'm not going to. But she was. All the scenes in the other mother's world take place at night, even when Coraline visits during the daytime.
I never noticed that.
Neither did I.
Huh.
That's weird. During production, Leica Studios had students from the Art Institute of Portland help with the film in terms of sets and designs.
That'd have been so cool to do.
That would have, to be included in that and be able to, like, tell your kids, like, yeah, I helped that. Watch this movie now. Oh, jeez. 1,300 square feet of fake fur was applied to stand in for live and or dead grass.
Oh.
Fur? Fake fur. Okay. Coraline's other father wears monkey slippers that resemble monkey bone. 2001, also directed by Henry Selick. Selick?
Selick.
The other mother's clothing gets scarier and scarier whenever Coraline comes back to the other world. I noticed that. Like, it was, like, darker and, like, less mom-like, her mom-like, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. That's all I got.
All right. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah. Next week, I don't know what I'm going to watch, so I'll figure it out. It'll be interesting, probably.
You said you already watched The Craft?
Yeah. I've never watched Nightmare on Elm Street, so I'm thinking about that one.
That'd be a Karen one.
Yeah?
Yeah, you gotta have Karen as your guest.
Alright.
It's her favorite movie.
Is it really?
Freddy's her favorite.
Is it really? Yep.
She went and actually met Robert Englund.
Really?
Yeah.
That's, Freddy?
Freddy.
Yeah.
That's Freddy.
Alright. Well, bye. 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 Camera's there this time. Bye.